Hey, how you doing? Hope you all are doing great. As you seen in the thumbnail, in this video, we are gonna see, what if Naruto was son of Zeus and Hera? This is movie and before getting into video, I request you to check the author of this fanfic, and show some love and support. Name of the story is Son of the King and Queen Challenge by Inspiration 19. Do check it out. All details in description. And if you want next part of this series, please leave a like, share, and consider subscribe. Let's get into the video. Also check out Patreon for uncensored spicy content, link in description. High above the great city of New York, above the mere mortal's Empire State Building stood another city, a city which had stood for centuries, a city which put all others to shame. This city's name Olympus. In the very heart of this magnificent city, at the peak of the mountain that the city rested on, was a palace. Inside the palace stood 12 thrones. Each was more different than the others in the shape of a U, with a central fire hearth which was currently unattended. In the middle of the 12 thrones stood 2 which were the only ones occupied at the moment. The throne on the left side of the U was filled with storm clouds and lightning. The throne on the right side of the U was filled with peacock feather and gold rings. The 2 beings that occupied the thrones were a man and a woman, each standing at 15 feet tall. The man's name is Zeus. He normally dressed in a pinstriped suit and had stormy eyes and a gray beard and black hair. However, currently he was wearing blue pants and a blue long-sleeved shirt with a flak jacket over the shirt, with a coat with flames on the bottom on it, with a clean-shaven face and blue eyes and blonde hair. The woman's name is Hera. She normally would be dressed in a silver chiton with black hair and golden eyes. However, currently she was wearing a kimono with peacock feather on it with red hair and amethyst color eyes. The reason they were dressed this way was easy to explain. You see, it all happened 2 months ago. No, Zeus yelled out in sadness as he watched as his beloved daughter Talia die by the hand of his own brother's minions, the Furies. Zeus sees that life has not left his beloved daughter's eyes yet, so thinking quickly, he does the only thing that he can do because of the ancient laws that all the gods were bound by. He turned his daughter into a pine tree in the hope that someday he would be able to revive her. After turning his daughter into the tree, as he turned around to see the angry face of his wife Hera. "So your bastard daughter is now a tree," said Hera with a thin smile, because while she despises all the bastard children of the gods due to her being the goddess of marriage, she is also sad that a young child is virtually dead, being stuck as a tree, because she is also the co-goddess of families. "Don't you dare speak about Talia like that, Hera," said a very pissed Zeus. "What should I call your bastard of a daughter? Husband?" Hera replied, saying husband like it was the worst curse imaginable due to Zeus cheating all the time. Zeus decided it was not worth the effort to argue with her, left in a flash of lightning. Later that same day, Zeus sat down in one of the gardens on Olympus thinking, "My beloved daughter, if only I could have helped you more, you would be alive and walking right now, not alive but stuck as a tree." Zeus thought to himself, "What do I do now? I am done with my paperwork for the next few months. Going out and picking up women right now will only leave a bad taste in my mouth. I need a vacation to get past Talia, but to where I already been to most places to vacation, and Hera will no doubt be watching my every move for a while." Zeus then remembered his son Ares. Whenever there wasn't any major wars going on, he go to some alternate dimension he found back when Rome was at peace during Pax Romana. Zeus then went to Ares's temple. The temple looked like an army command building that had been painted red by throwing the paint on it. Zeus walked up to door and knocked. When Ares opened the door, rock music blasted out. Zeus yelled, "Turn it down, Ares." Ares turned the music down and asked, "Dad, what you need?" "I was expecting Aphrodite." Zeus then said, "I need to ask you something. How do you get to that alternate dimension you found?" Ares then asked, "Why?" "I was hoping that I could go there to take a vacation to get away from your mom." Zeus answered, "I can open a portal to it, but I need to tell you something. When you enter that dimension, you will temporarily lose your powers and you will take on the form of a newborn baby and with no memory of your divine self until your mortal self becomes 21, and lastly, if and when you die, you will be sent back here and can't return for 4 years." Ares said, "Now do you still wish to go?" Zeus replied, "Yes, anything to get away from Talia, death, and Hera." "Oh, one last thing before you go. Time is always fluxing between these 2 dimensions, but I got down to like this: for a certain amount of time this dimension will be going extremely faster time-wise than us. Like right now, when you enter you will be going 100 times faster than us, meaning your mortal self will have his 21st birthday 2 months from now." Ares said before Zeus entered and disappeared. Now what is keeping that woman? I told her I wanted to do her riding my bike today? Ares wondered. Hera. After while Zeus was with Ares, Hera was with Aphrodite talking about their relationships, or more like Hera was complaining about how Zeus could never stay faithful to her. Aphrodite then said, Hera, what you need is a vacation. Hera then replied, really, where could I possibly go where Zeus wouldn't ruin it with the storms? Aphrodite thought for a moment and said, you could go to the elemental nations that Ares discovered back when we were in Rome. I could, but Ares hates me, right, because I cursed one of his favorite sons to a bad marriage. I could send you there. Ares showed me how after I blessed one of his ugliest daughters to one the most beautiful. Aphrodite said. Thank you, Aphrodite, thank you. Hera said while hugging her. Aphrodite then opened a portal to the elemental nations. Hera then immediately went through and the portal closed. Should I have told her that she would have to live a mortal life till she is 21? Aphrodite asked herself before she shrugged and teleported to Ares. Elemental nations. Time 21 years after Zeus and Hera entered. Zeus, or as he was known in the elemental nations as Minato Namikaze, was enjoying his vacation. He was born an orphan but made himself into a powerful warrior and leader. He also married a beautiful woman who to him was just as beautiful as any goddess, even his wife. He also learned a great deal here thanks to his wife Kushina about being faithful to his partner. He swore that when he returned to his world he would forevermore be faithful to Hera. He learned he was a god just the other night and spent the day coming to terms with everything that he has done in this world. Fun enough, he thought, amused, I regain my divine memory while I'm having sex with my wife. Chuckling, he continued to walk home, and when he got home he saw his beloved Kushina on the couch with a thoughtful look on her face. Hello beautiful, how has your day been? He asked. Minato, I need you to sit down please, there is something I have to tell you. She replied, okay, so what is the news? He asked. I have to tell something that may be hard to believe, but I swear on my life it's true. She said nervously, okay, I will believe whatever it's, so please tell me. He said, getting nervous himself. I am a goddess, an actual goddess. I came here to get away from everything, but I didn't know I would be living a mortal life or that my memories would return when they did, but I swear again that that is the truth. She said nervously, you're a goddess of what, and if I can ask, what is your real name? Zeus asked, thinking that he married one of this world gods. My title is goddess of marriage, family, and mothers. I'm also their queen and married, but my husband is always cheating on me. As for my name, it's Hera. Zeus shouted out in shock. Yes it is. How did you know that? She asked, wondering how he knew her real name before she even said it. Because I'm Zeus. He said. Zeus what? How? When? She said, confused. Hera, I came here to get away after Talia passed. I guess you came here to get away from me. He said. She nodded. Hera, I came here today to tell you about me, but now I can tell that I love you, and when we get back to our world that I will no longer have any more demigod children and remain faithful to just you. He said. Thank beloved, thank you. If you ever needed to have a child to do what the laws keep you from doing, that you have my permission to have one, but only if you tell me first and you make sure the child is well taken care of. Hera said all of this while hugging Zeus. Are you serious, my love? But I thought that you hate all illegitimate children? Zeus asked. I did, but when I regained my divine self I realized that no matter if it's in marriage or out of marriage, a parent should love the child no matter what, and so long as you love me and always come back to me, I will love any and all of your other children. She said, except for Heracles. Even you have to admit his ego has too big for his own good. That is true, he said. 9 months later at the hospital, Hera was in maternity giving birth to a child. At her side is her husband Zeus, who was getting an earful of things along these lines. I swear when this is over you will never have sex with me again, you bastard. The doctor examined Hera and said, Kushina, one more push, come on. Hera gave this last push everything she had and was rewarded to hear her baby's first cries. Zeus then came to her holding the baby and he said it's a boy. He then handed the baby to Hera to hold. Hera looked at her handsome baby boy with his sapphire blue eyes and little tuft of blonde hair on his head. Just as she was about to name him, a violent blast rocked the hospital and Zeus went to the window to see what happened. The QB. Zeus knew that he would have acted quickly to stop it. He also knew that there were only 3 ways to defeat the QB. 1. Use wood-style jutsu. 2. Seal it into an object blessed by the fire monks, like the urn that has held it for almost a century. 3. To seal it into a living being. Zeus decided quickly and ran to get the urn. When he arrived at the Uzumaki mask shrine which held the urn, he found the urn completely destroyed. Seeing the urn destroyed, Zeus realized that the only way to defeat the QB would be to seal it into a living being. Zeus then hereation to Hera and told her what was happening in his plan. I plan on sealing the QB into both you and me, he said. What about Naruto? He'll be alone without either of us to take care of him. She asked. I set it up so that Tsunade and Hiruzen will take care of him in our wills. He replied. Zeus then helped Hera up and together with Naruto went to destroy the fox. The fighting was fierce but futile. Nothing the leaf ninjas did could stop the fox when suddenly a large cry was heard throughout the battlefield. Summoning jutsu, and in a plume of smoke appeared a massive red toad with a pipe in his mouth and a short sword on his back. It's Gamabuta the Fourth has arrived, cried out the leaf ninjas in happiness that their beloved leader was there. Buddha, I need you to hold the QB still so we can seal it away forever, Zeus yelled to Buddha. Okay kid, just make it quick, I won't be able to hold him for long. Buddha replied while running towards QB and taking hold of the fox. Zeus and Hera quickly formed the needed hand signs and shouted out sealing jutsu, Reaper Death Seal. The spectral image of the death god Shinigami. The Shinigami then thrust his hands into the backs of Zeus and Hera, who both pulled with all their strength and managed to pull the soul of the QB out and separate it into two halves. When the two halves reached Zeus and Hera, the seals were set. Then the Shinigami took Zeus's mortal soul. Then Hiruzen Sarutobi appeared and then saw the lifeless eyes of his successor and the barely living Kushina. Hiruzen, take care of my son P, please tell him about us, said Kushina, breaking into pants, barely clinging to life. I will take care of him, Kushina. Hiruzen promised. And with that Kushina passed away. Back to Olympus after Zeus and Hera returned, a council meeting was called by Apollo. Father, the great prophecy has been changed. Apollo stated seriously. The last time a great prophecy changed, they moved from Greece to Rome. The new great prophecy goes as this. A new god is born to two who are not at the age of manhood. The trials begin. Love of another divine, he will Olympus's prince shall rise and bring a new age, or he in Olympus shall fall. Do think we should tell them? Hera asked. No, we won't. They may not show it, but they are scared not of the demise part, but more on the new god part. They are scared of what this new god is going to be like. Zeus said. The only thing we can do now is wait and wonder what our son is going to be like. I hope he turns out better than Dionysus did as a demigod. Remember when he turned those sons of Poseidon into dolphins? Hera replied. I know he will turn out better than any of his brothers, even Heracles, Zeus said with conviction. The second that we can bring him here we will, darling. I just hope he can forgive us for not being there for him during the early years, Hera said. I asked Ares and he said that the next time the portal can be opened is in 4 years and that it will be about 16 years after we left there, Zeus said. So now we just need to wait and prepare for his arrival, Hera said. Yes, we better, after all he is our son after all, Zeus said. 16 years later in elemental nations, it's late winter in Fire Country. A recent snowstorm has covered the village in an ankle-deep snow layer. Normally a person would just stay home next to the fireplace for the day, but there is one person out and about on this cold and ice-filled day, a young man about 5'9" in height wearing a thick jacket and jeans with a ski mask to cover his face. The young man was making his way towards the Hokage Tower to answer a summons from the Hokage. Once he entered the tower, he removed his ski mask. The man could easily be mistaken for his father with his narrow jawline, blonde hair that was spiky everywhere with his bangs going down to past his jaw, and especially for his sapphire blue eyes. His name Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Why is Granny summoning me on a day like today? Naruto asked himself. Well, it better be good, otherwise I'll switch all sake out with hot sauce again, Naruto told himself as he made his way towards her office. Knock, knock, enter, Tsunade called from within. Naruto entered and sat down and then said, Granny, why have you summoned me on what has to be the coldest day of the year? Naruto, as you know, your father and mother they left you everything, which you received when you became a chunin at 12. However, your parents left you 2 letters that they left for you to read when you turned 16. Here is one of them, Tsunade said while handing the letter to Naruto. Naruto opened the letter and was stunned to say the least on what he read. Dear Naruto, I hope this letter finds you in good spirits, son. I have written thousands of letters like this and they never get easier, so I will just come out to say it. I am a god, Naruto. I have no doubt that you are stunned and are thinking that this is a joke, however it isn't. I am a god. I'm not from this dimension, Naruto. When I and your mother died defeating the QB, both of us returned to our home dimension, and yes, your mother is also a goddess. You my son are what is called a demigod, half mortal half god. Since your mother was in a mortal body when she first became pregnant, I'll hopefully be able to explain the mortal body part to you in person. However, you are more along the lines of what I and other gods call as a demi-deity. Because you have both your mother and my divine blood in you, or as close to a god as you can get without being immortal. My son, both your mother and I wish we could have been there for you, but when we died the way we came to that dimension closed, we could only get these 2 letters through until now, that is. Naruto, your mother and I both wish for you to come to our dimension. If you are familiar with a summoning jutsu, then that is how the other letter works. It will summon you to our dimension. You will arrive in an apartment that has been put in your name, and you will have books there for you to learn about our world and its language. One last thing, because of the ancient laws that govern the gods, we can interact very little with you. There is also a book that will explain that in more detail there as well. Naruto, whether you decide to stay or come to us now that your mother and I love more than anything else in the world. Sincerely, your father. P.S. I can't tell you my real name because if I do, monsters in my world will be able to find you easier, if you come, that is. P.S. If you do come, read up on Greek mythology. Naruto was completely stunned. He had been told all his life how great his father and mother were, how he looked like father but acted like his mother when she was playful, but to learn that both of his parents were gods was understandably a shock. 1 hour later, after getting over his shock, he passed the letter to Tsunade, who was also shocked. Then another hour later she finally asked, "Well, what are you going to do?" Naruto thought about it for a few moments and said, "I think I am going to go. I have always felt like I was meant to do more than be just a ninja of the leaf, but just because I'm going doesn't mean I won't miss you, Mom." Saying this as the woman who raised him to be the man he is today cries, seeing as how her son in all but blood would be leaving in a few moments. Tsunade said, "Naruto, I will miss you, and so will all your friends, but from your Hokage and your surrogate mother go, my son, with my blessing." After saying this she kissed him on the forehead like when she did when he was a kid. Naruto said as he took the second letter, "I will always remember you, mother. Take good care of yourself." After saying that, Naruto ripped open the letter and in a flash of light vanished. Tsunade then poured herself a drink and said, "To the greatest god in all of existence, Naruto." New York City, New York. Naruto appeared in a modest-size apartment with completely furnished and stocked kitchen, a flat-screen TV, and modest living room and a single master bathroom and bedroom. In the bedroom was a map of New York, the books mentioned in his father's letter, and a letter of admittance to Yansei Academy. "Look out his window at the city below," Naruto said, turning his head towards the sky. "Just like I told myself when I became a ninja, I will do you and Mom proud, Dad, so both watch me." 6 months later, on a school bus, Naruto sat back in his seat on his way to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He, though back on the last 6 months, learning a new language was fairly easy, although he found out he had a very bad case of dyslexic and an even worse case of ADHD, but it wasn't so bad. He wasn't the only person in school who had them, and because of that he made a friend and roommate in Percy Jackson. Percy was a young man of 12 with black hair and sea-green eyes who looked up to Naruto because he was older, had the same disabilities, and still managed to be at the top of his class in all subjects. Another friend Naruto made was in Grover Underwood, who was crippled due to him always having crutches with him. Grover and he became friends due to Naruto taking care of the people who bullied him. After that they all became as tight as brothers. He was stopped from reminiscing about the past when he saw peanut butter and jelly pieces hit Grover. He then saw who threw them and saw Nancy Bobofit. Percy looked angry at her, and while Naruto agreed with him at being angry at her, he knew that he couldn't let Percy do anything stupid because he was already on probation. One more step out of line and he would be gone. So he pulled out a playing card. Percy says, "I'm going to kill her." "It's okay, I like peanut butter," Grover said. "Besides, you're on probation, you can't get in trouble again." Percy saw Naruto draw the playing card and replied, "Not if I didn't do anything." Nodding towards Naruto, Grover noticed the playing card. Nancy decided to throw another piece of peanut butter at Grover, but before it left her hand it was hit by a flying object. "Oh, little monkey," Naruto said to her. Nancy, hearing Naruto, paled because the last time she heard that she would up in a biology class's monkey cage covered in monkey pheromones with a very horny monkeys in the cage with her. Needless to say that every time someone said monkey near hers ran as fast as she could in the other direction. Nancy turned towards Naruto slowly and said meekly, "Yes? Do you want the cage again?" Naruto asked, smiling like Tsunade did before she beat the living crap out Jiraiya for peeking on her. "No," Nancy replied. "Then leave Grover alone otherwise," Naruto said, leaving the threat hanging. Percy, seeing this, nodded gratified towards Naruto. They soon arrived at the museum. Mr. Brunner, the Latin teacher, led the tour and soon arrived at the Greek section and began to explain the different parts of it. Percy stood next to Naruto, and while Mr. Brunner was explaining the myth behind the creation of the chariot, told him, "Thanks for handling Nancy for me." Naruto, while still paying attention, "No problem, what are friends for?" Mr. Brunner then asked, "Percy, since you seem to know about this myth already, perhaps you can answer this question?" Percy, stunned by being called out, said, "Yes, sir." "Okay, here is the question. Is created the horses for the chariot, and who created the body for it?" Percy answered, "Poseidon and Ah." Naruto, seeing Percy struggle with the other answer, said, "Athena." "Correct," Mr. Brunner said, "but make sure to pay attention, Percy." Percy breathed a sigh of relief and said to Naruto, "Thanks again, Jeez, it's like he wants me to know everything." "No, Percy, he just wants you to do your best, and I know it's tough due to our ADHD and the dyslexic, but if I can do it, you can do it, just try, okay?" Naruto said. Mr. Brunner continued the tour and at the end before lunch explained about the 12 Olympian gods of Zeus, Hera, Apollo, Demeter, Artemis, Athena, Ares, Aphrodite, Hermes, Hephaestus, Dionysus, and Poseidon. In conclusion of the tour, he told the class about the three most powerful being the three brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. During the lecture, Naruto felt a drawing of sorts to all of the statues of the gods, but most of all to Zeus and Hera. With that, everyone broke for lunch. Naruto joined Percy and Grover next to the fountain. Percy, noticing the strange thunderstorm gathering, asked, "Naruto, do you know what's up with the weather?" Naruto replied, "How should I know? I don't make the storms. Come to think of it, these storms have been happening a lot lately. It is pretty weird." Naruto then noticed the look on Percy's face. He always got that look when he was thinking about his mom. So Naruto said, "Thinking about your mom, huh?" Percy replied, "Yeah, I miss her. I don't know why she puts up with Gabe at all." Naruto said, "Your mom deserves so much better than that slob. I know it is tough, Percy, but there is nothing you can do to can it. If you want my advice, just, for your mom, take it all in stride. Something tells me Gabe is going to get his just desserts. Personally, I rather beat the living shit out of Gabe, just from what Percy has told me, and that's without even meeting the guy. Though something tells me that if I ever do meet him, I'll only want to kick his ass even more," Naruto thought while giving Percy his opinion. While Percy and Naruto were talking, Nancy was moving over towards them and summoning up what little courage she had dumped her lunch on top of Grover. "Oops," Nancy said sarcastically. As Nancy turned around, Naruto could see that Percy was angry and trying to control it and losing, not that Naruto could blame him for not getting upset because he was as well. Suddenly, as Nancy was walking by the fountain, he saw a tentacle made of water grab Nancy and pull her into the fountain. Nancy then jumped out of the cold fountain water and said to the other teacher, "Miss Dodds, Naruto and Percy pushed me." Miss Dodds was the math teacher, and for some reason she hated Naruto and Percy. So when she said, "Now honeys," Percy beat her to it and said, we know, a month of erasing workbooks." Naruto knew, like any good prankster, that knew now the punishment would be even worse. He was right, because Miss Dodds then said, "Mr. Jackson and Mr. Uzumaki, come with me." Grover, after cleaning himself up, finally said, "Wait, I did it, I pushed her." "I don't think so, Mr. Underwood," Miss Dodds replied. "But," Grover began to say, but was interrupted when Miss Dodds said, "You will stay here," she said in an intimidating tone. "It's okay, Grover," Percy said, following Miss Dodds towards the entrance with Naruto. Naruto thought that Miss Dodds was going to make Naruto and Percy buy Nancy a new shirt and pants to replace the ones she was already wearing, but when they passed the gift shop, that immediately sent warning lights off in his head because of what he read in the book on monsters that his parents give him when he arrived in his new home. According to the book, monsters will occasionally disguise themselves in order to get close to half-bloods to kill them, sometimes as ice cream men, other times as police officers and as teachers. Naruto realized that Miss Dodds was a monster of some kind by which he had no idea. That explained why she wanted to get him alone, but why Percy, unless Percy is a half-blood? Naruto suspected that Percy may have been a half-blood, but the odds of that were slim to none, because if there were two or more half-blood children in the same school, then monsters would be attracted like flies to honey, unless they were both weak, but the odds of that on his end anyway were nil, because both his parents were gods, so logically monsters should be after him like crazy. As they neared a surprisingly empty Roman and Greek section, Naruto remembered thankfully that he was wearing the first gifts that he ever received from his parents. Flashback: Naruto had been living in New York City for about a month now. His new school would be starting up soon. Thankfully, he managed to get down a good portion of the English language to hold his own in a conversion. Anyway, he was walking up to his apartment after a run in Central Park when he saw a package in front of his door. Naruto carefully picked up the package and went inside. After checking to see if it was booby-trapped, Naruto opened the package. Inside was a Rolex Sky Dweller watch, except instead of white gold on the case it was bronze, and the dial itself had the symbol of Omega on it. At the tips on either side was a lightning bolt and a peacock's feather and a gold wedding ring with the inscription, "Marriage and family are the two things which should be protected above all else." Seeing a letter in the box, Naruto grabbed it and opened it. The letter read, "Dear son, sorry I haven't written you, but even we gods are busy. Anyway, I just wanted to give you something which I know you are going to need to defend yourself against monsters which will surely be after you. You've no doubt have read the book on monsters, then you know that celestial bronze, burning them, or if you have powers over nature such as water or fire, then any attack that you command over that element will have some of your divine energy in it. Example, if you made a whip out of fire, then any attack that connects with a monster will be like it was hit with a bronze whip. Anyway, the ring will turn into a double-edged Xiphos about 21 inches long. Use it well and keep it sharp, okay? The ring will become a shield about 3.5 feet long. May it protect you well. I love more than anything, son. Take care of yourself and never go anywhere without these on, okay? Sincerely, your loving mom." Naruto was happy beyond that. Even he was ecstatic that his mom cared so much about him. He told himself that the first time he meets his mom he is going to give her the biggest hug ever. From that day on, Naruto practiced using the shield and sword outside the city and went to Yansei Academy in the woods surrounding the dorms, and he never took the watch or the ring off even in the shower. End flashback. Now Miss Dodds turned towards them and said, "You two have been causing us a lot of trouble." Percy looked at her like she was taking about the secret candy that he was selling to the kids with diet plans, while Naruto was getting ready to take her out while listening to her and trying to find out what it was that she thought they did to cause a monster like her trouble. Ma'am, I don't know what," Percy started to say, but then Miss Dodds interrupted and said, "Time's up." Suddenly her eyes turned into the fiery red and black of burning coal. The coat she was wearing turned bat-like wings as black as night. Her hands and feet turned into talons, and at her waist where her belt once was is now a whip made of the fires of the damned and corrupt. Naruto recognized her instantly. A fury, he whispered to himself. Percy was understandably stunned and scared. In fact, it's a miracle he didn't wet his pants. Naruto quickly activated his shield and sword. The fury charged the still stunned Percy. Naruto moved in an instant and moved in front of Percy and covered with his shield. The fury flew right into the shield, and Naruto used the moment it was stunned to slam his shield into the fury, pushing it back and on the ground. Naruto, seeing a chance to end this, quickly moved to end the fight and managed to hit the right hand of the fury. The fury, even though in great pain from the loss of its hand, quickly kicked Naruto's legs out from under him. As he fell, Naruto covered himself with his shield to prevent himself from getting hit. Percy finally snapped out of it when he heard Mr. Brunner, who appeared out of nowhere, said, "What ho, Percy," and tossed him a pen which turned into a sword. Percy, seeing Naruto on the ground using only his shield to cover him, because his sword was underneath his shield with him, moved to kill whatever it was that was attacking his friend. The fury heard Percy coming and looked up. The momentary distraction was all Naruto needed to use his shield to push the fury back, and then when it was stunned from the sudden movement, stroke alongside Percy, who had his eyes closed. Note to self: teach Percy how to use a sword, Naruto thought. Both swords struck at the same time, and the fury that was Miss Dodds was no more for now. Naruto quickly pocketed the 2 talons that remained of the fury and promised himself to give the other to Percy when they went to Camp Half-Blood. Naruto knew of Camp Half-Blood since he arrived. The only reason that he hadn't left to go to it was because he wanted to get his education done so that he wouldn't have to deal with having to leave after the summer was over or have to continue it at Camp Half-Blood. The reason for the second part is because the teacher for the education for year-round campers at camp was Athena, and according to what Dad wrote in the margins of one of the books his parents gave to him when he first arrived, Athena was like the strictest teacher you ever have times 1,000. Naruto always shivered at the thought. Anyway, he turned his sword and shield back into their ring and watch forms. Percy's sword turned into a pen. Useful but not exactly in hand at a moment's notice, Naruto thought, eyeing the pen. Percy naturally was freaking out about what just happened, and Naruto knew 2 things. One, that he had to snap Percy out of it, and two, that Percy would not believe that he was a half-blood if Naruto told him. So to save one of the two, at least Naruto walked up to Percy and hit him on the back of the head hard. Slap. OWW, what was that for? Percy asked. To snap you out of it. Naruto stated simply. Come on, we better get back to the class. Naruto, please tell me, did that really just happen? Percy asked, still very much confused. Naruto turned to Percy and said, yes Percy, it did happen, but trust me, the less you know the better. For now I promise I will explain everything, but not until the summer, okay? Please trust me on this. Percy answered back, okay, I'll trust you, but you better tell me everything, okay? I will, okay. Naruto replied back. One more thing, more than likely the other students will ask about how some teacher we have never met telling us off or something along those lines. Just go along with it, okay? Naruto said, after remembering that the mist would hide what happened to mortal eyes from the book on monsters that his parents gave him. Another note to self. Learn how to manipulate the mist. Percy, though even more confused, said yes, and they walked back to the group. When they got there, Nancy, who was still wet, said, I hope Mrs. Kerr gave you detention for the rest of the year. Shortly thereafter, Percy was approached by Mr. Brunner and he said, there is my pen, next time bring your own writing instruments, Percy. Percy was going to ask about Miss Dodds, but remembered Naruto told him to go with it for now, so he would, and he handed the pen to Mr. Brunner. Mr. Brunner then approached Naruto and said, if you don't mind my asking, Naruto, where did you get that watch and wedding ring you always wear? Naruto considered what to say, then said, the watch was my father's, he left it to me before he passed away, and the wedding ring was my mom's, I had it resized to fit my hand. Did your mother not want to wear it anymore? Mr. Brunner asked curiously. No, she did. In giving birth to me, my dad never got over it and simply passed away, Naruto said, thinking up a lie quickly. I'm sorry to hear that. If you ever need anything, just let me know, Mr. Brunner said, and went and told everyone that it was time to head back to the academy. As he walked to the bus, Naruto thought that something was going to happen, and it is going to happen this summer. Naruto was in his dorm room with a sketchbook in hand, sketching out and designing any random thought that popped into his head. While sketching out a design for a rapid-fire crossbow, his thoughts drifted back towards the past 2 months. The day after the museum incident, and naturally Percy wanted answers. Okay Naruto, what the hell happened yesterday? I mean, Miss Dodds turned in that weird bat-like creature, you suddenly have a sword and shield out of nowhere, and finally you don't appear to be all that shocked that this happened, so talk, Percy said forcefully. Alright, I said that I would explain, but before I do I must tell you that I can't tell you everything, because right now it is best you don't know everything, and know that I would not keep this from you unless I had to, okay? Naruto replied back to Percy. Now, as to why I didn't appear surprised by what Miss Dodds turned into, all I can say is that I was expecting something like that to happen, and as far as that goes, that is all I will say at this time, Naruto said while thinking of how to respond to Percy's other questions without giving away he was a demigod. Now, as to how I had that sword and shield on me, and your eventually question as to why everyone doesn't remember Miss Dodds and we have a new math teacher, is because I'm a ninja, Naruto said. Percy looked at Naruto disbelievingly. Naruto then decided to prove it by using a ninja technique that he managed to recreate. Naruto then channeled energy into his senses and then said, you just took a shower, you use Old Spice body wash, you ate spinach and steak for lunch, and you didn't brush this morning. How did you know all of that? Percy asked, wondering. I'm able to sharpen my senses using ninja technique. From my sense of smell I can tell you just bathed and used the Old Spice, that you also had spinach and steak for lunch, and as to how I know you didn't brush, you still have a piece of yesterday's dinner in your teeth. Now do you believe me? Naruto said. Percy could only nod dumbfounded like to Naruto. After telling Percy about his ninja past, Naruto then told Percy that was all he was going to say at the present time about the museum incident for now. Thankfully Percy bought the story that the math teacher was a person that he summoned to cover up the missing math teacher. As to how he did that, Naruto only said, ninja secret. After having explained everything he could for now, life went on as if nothing had happened at the museum. Naruto was still top of his class and Percy was about in the middle of his. However, Percy wouldn't be coming back to Yansei Academy next year because a few days ago he got into a fight because some bullies were picking on Grover, so the headmaster sent a letter to his mother saying that he wouldn't be allowed back next year. Even though he hid it well, Naruto could see that Percy was happy to be not going back because he missed his mother. In other news, the weird weather that had been going on was continuing as the massive thunderstorm hit the Hudson Valley a few days after the museum incident, and the wind caused the windows in Percy's room to break, so Naruto decided to let Percy stay with him for the last few weeks of the year. Now it was exam time before the start of summer. Percy, due to not coming back next year, decided to not take his exams seriously except for his Latin exam, because Mr. Brunner was one of the only teacher to make him try to be the best that he could be. Naruto thankfully took his exams a week earlier and passed with flying colors, and due to the fact he was taking advanced classes, he applied for the graduation exam early so that he wouldn't have to leave Camp Half-Blood for high school, and so he wouldn't have to take Athena's lessons from hell as his father described in the book about Camp Half-Blood that he gave him. Naruto was due to take the graduation exam tomorrow, while Percy was going to be taking his Latin exam tomorrow. Hearing a grunt of frustration, Naruto was broken from his thoughts by the fact a book suddenly hit him the head. "OWW Percy, you had better have a good explanation as to why I had to get hit in the face, otherwise you'll have to take your exam naked because of you won't be finding your clothing anytime soon," Naruto said threateningly after taking the book off his face. "It's just I can't seem to get anything retained. I mean, what is the difference between Theseus and Perseus? Simple. Theseus has T and H in the beginning and Perseus has just a P," Naruto said smartly with a smile. Percy just gave him a deadpan look. "Okay, Theseus, the one with the T and H, was the son of Poseidon and he killed the Minotaur and defeated several notable monsters. Perseus was a son of Zeus and he defeated the Gorgon Medusa and used her head to turn to stone a sea monster and married the princess Andromeda." "Well, that is all well and good, but how am I supposed to remember it?" Percy asked. "You could go and ask Mr. Brunner. I mean, he is the teacher, he could help you," Naruto suggested. "You want to come with?" Percy asked. "No thanks, I need to get some sleep, I got a really important exam tomorrow," Naruto said after yawning. Naruto was woken up later by the sound of his door slamming shut. In an instant, Naruto had his shield and sword out and ready to decapitate whatever just came through his door. Thankfully for Percy, Naruto noticed his sea green eyes and stopped just short of taking his head off. "What the hell, Percy? I almost took your head off. What are you doing slamming the door like that?" Naruto yelled angry at Percy for almost making Naruto make him headless. "Sorry, but you are never going to believe what I heard at Mr. Brunner's office," Percy said. Percy then went on to tell Naruto about hear Grover and Mr. Brunner talk about him and Naruto. Something about the mist, a kindly one, and a summer solstice deadline. Naruto said nothing as he listened and took all of it in. His thoughts, however, were running a mile a minute. "So Grover is without a doubt a satyr, but who Mr. Brunner is a mystery. I doubt he is a satyr as well. He could be an older half-blood that works for the camp, one guess. So for now I believe I can trust Grover with the fact I'm a demigod to him." Naruto then told Percy that they couldn't do anything about it tonight, so it would be best if they turned in for the night. The next day was a difficult one for Naruto. Even with his advanced classes, he still had some trouble with the graduation exam, but he managed to bear the brunt of it and passed the exam. Percy asked him to come by his place so that he could meet his mom. Now he was sitting on his motorcycle, a 1938 Indian Chief, all original, painted black with gold pinstripes, outside of Percy's apartment waiting for him to arrive. He saw a cab pull up shortly after he arrived. Percy said, "Hey Naruto, good to see you made it. I just know you were going to love my mom." Naruto nodded, then asked, "Hey, wasn't Grover with you as well?" He was, but he was acting weird, like he was afraid of his own shadow. "He gave me a card that said Camp Half-Blood on it, but when I asked about it he just said that it was his summer address. But he started acting the weirdest after the bus broke down and these old ladies were making the biggest pair of socks cut a string," Percy said while in the elevator to his place. Naruto could only think, "Percy, if only you knew you would be as worried as Grover and I are. I just hope that it wasn't your life wasn't the one ended." Percy was hoping his mom was home from work, but she wasn't. Instead, Gabe and his poker buddies were sitting around the table playing 5-card draw with ESPN blaring in the background and beer cans everywhere. Naruto was angered to say the least because the people that could get on Naruto's hate list were 1. Wife abusers, 2. Child beaters, pollsters, 3. Rapists. And Gabe fell into 2 of those catalogers, being a wife abuser in the fact that he took complete advantage of Mrs. Jackson and the fact that Percy told him that if he didn't pay for his gambling funds whenever he visited he would punch his lights out. Normally Naruto would have turned Gabe into a bloody smear on the wall by now, but there was a better way to get at Gabe by taking him for everything he owned. While Naruto was thinking all of this, Gabe saw that Percy and Naruto were there. "So you're back. Who the loser friend of yours?" Gabe said while smoking his cigar. "Naruto is his name." "Where is my mom?" Percy asked. "She's working. Got any cash?" Gabe asked as he raised his bet. "No, I don't," Percy said while noticing that Gabe had put on weight. He used to look like a tuskless walrus with 3 hairs combed over his bald head to try and make himself handsome. Now he looked like a beached whale with 2 hairs on his head and a face which looked like he covered himself in bacon grease. Gabe said after rising a grease-covered eyebrow, which was the most exercise he got in a day. "You took a cab from the bus station, paid with a 20, got $7 to $8 in change. Somebody expects to live under this roof, then he ought to carry his own weight. Am I right, Eddie?" Eddie the building super looked at Percy with some sympathy and said, "Come on Gabe, the kid just got here." "Am I right, Eddie?" Gabe asked again, stressing Eddie's name to say agree with me or else. Eddie just scowled into his bowl of pretzels. The other 2 players, a lawyer and an accountant, just passed gas in harmony. As Percy reached into his pocket to pull out his money, Naruto then decided to begin ruining Gabe by pulling out his wallet and withdrawing $1,000 and said, "Got room for one more?" Gabe, seeing the $1,000, said, "Sure, have a seat." Percy then saw the look in Naruto's eye and he knew Gabe was in for it. "Percy, why don't you make yourself at home while I take Gabe here down?" Naruto said while taking his place at the table. Taking the cards that were dealt, Naruto saw that he had a great hand right of the bat with a king, queen, jack, 10, and an 8. After betting 200, he took 1 card and got an ace. Naruto then went all in. Seeing this, Gabe decided to call as well as Eddie, the accountant, and the lawyer. They showed their hands. Eddie had 2 pair, the accountant a flush, the lawyer had 3 of a kind in 7s, and Gabe had 3 of a kind in 10s. Naruto, seeing these hands, smirked and reviled his royal flush. Just then a woman appeared through the front door and Naruto could see why Percy thought so much of his mom. She had this air around her that just made you want to smile. Naruto then noticed she was looking at him oddly. He then said, "Hello there, Mrs. Jackson. My name is Naruto. I'm a friend of Percy's. He's in there," he said while pointing towards the room Percy went into. Naruto then turned his attention back towards the game and said, "Let's make this interesting, shall we?" Gabe then asked, "How?" "Well, I say we each bet something we each on, and it has to be of equal or more value to the object previously bet," Naruto said. "Sure, I think we all can do that, right guys?" Gabe said as everyone nodded. "Okay, I'll go first. I bet my motorcycle. It's a 1938 Indian Chief, all original." Gabe then said, "I'll bet my 1978 Camaro." Eddie said, "I'll bet my 1957 Ferrari California." Naruto had to ask, "How does a building super own one of the rarest of Ferrari cars ever made?" "My grandfather bought it back when he and my dad lived in California," Eddie said. The lawyer then said, "I'll bet my 1970 Dodge 426 Hemi Fastback." The accountant then said, "Well, I don't have a car to bet, but I do have my plane. It's a P-51 Mustang." The cards were dealt and Naruto once again had a great hand with a 10, 9, jack, queen, 2 all of diamonds. After taking 1 card for 2, Naruto received an 8 of diamonds. Gabe, on the other hand, didn't have anything at all, but he did have 3 aces hidden under his selves, so to distract everyone he yelled out, "Hey Sally, how about some bean dip, huh?" Naruto didn't want Percy's time with his mom to get interrupted, so he then got up and got the bean dip from the fridge. While Naruto was doing so, Gabe then switched 3 of his cards to the 3 aces he had hidden, so feeling cocky he then said, "Never mind, Percy's friend got it." Then Gabe said, "Let's end this already, I'm all in." The other went all in as well. Then they showed their hands with the lawyer only having a pair of kings, the accountant having a flush, and Eddie having 3 sevens. Gabe then reviled his hand showing a full house. Gabe then smirked and said, "Looks like I won myself a few new sets of wheels and a plane, thanks losers, ha 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 ha." Naruto then said, "Wait a minute Gabe, I still have to show my hand straight flush." Naruto then takes the titles to the cars and plane and says, "Thanks guys, I will take very good care of them." Then Percy and Sally walked back into the room and Naruto could see that Percy was happy to be home, and then Gabe said, "You were in there a while?" Sally replied by saying, "We were just talking about the trip." Gabe then said as his eyes got small, "You were serious about that?" "Well, you can't go because I just lost all my money and my car to this brat." Actually, I'll pay for everything and you can use my new car to get there, Naruto said with emphasis on my, which told Percy whose car they were going to use. Thank you Naruto, that's very generous of you, and don't worry, I'll pay you back every cent, Sally said. Thank nothing of it, but if you don't mind, can I come along as well? Naruto asked. Sure, you are more than welcome to come since you are paying for it, Sally said while walking to go pack and get change. Percy, I'm going to go to my place and get some stuff. I'll be back in 5 minutes, Naruto said as he walked towards the door. 5 minutes later, Naruto pulled up to Percy's place after stopping by his to get some clothing and his toothbrush and toothpaste. Naruto saw the door hit Gabe hard in the backside, and then he walked to the car window and said, "Just wait 1 minute Sally, I just have to talk to Gabe for a moment." Sally looked at Naruto and said, "Sure, but be quick, okay, I'd like to beat traffic." Naruto then said, "I will only be a minute." Naruto then walked towards the door and went in. Seeing Gabe there getting up, he walked towards him and then wham! Naruto punched Gabe right in the eye and then continued to beat on him. As he did, he said, "Listen up, you no good waste of space tub of grease. By the time that Sally and Percy get back, this apartment better be spotless, and you had better be nicer to Percy and Sally. They both deserve better than you, and if I hear another word about you mistreating either of them the next I come here, I won't just take your money and your car, I'll take manhood and shove it down your throat, make you cough it back up, and then shove it up your lazy no good fat ass. Got it?" By the time Naruto got done beating Gabe to a pulp, he had a broken jaw, a black eye, a broken hand, 4 cracked ribs, and a busted wrist. So he could barely nod to respond. Naruto then walked out and got on his bike to follow Sally to Montauk. After arriving at Montauk, Naruto and Percy spent the day playing baseball and swimming. Now they were sitting around a campfire eating marshmallows and hot dogs. Percy then asked a question he had been wanting to ask for a while, "Mom, what was Dad like?" Sally then smiled and answered with a joyful sound to her voice, "He was kind, caring, and gentle man, Percy. Tall, handsome, powerful, willing to do what he felt was right. You have his eyes and his hair, Percy. I know that he would be proud of you." While Sally was saying this, Naruto thought, "Are you proud of me, Mom, Dad?" Sally then asked Naruto, "What about you, Naruto? Who are your parents?" Naruto then said, "I was raised by my godmother and my grandfather in all but blood. I do know that my father was a great man. He was respected, powerful, but very humble. My mom, on the other hand, if you made her mad, then you had better run and run quick. She was very beautiful, smart, and stubborn. From what my godmother told me, my mom wore the pants in their relationship." Percy and Sally laughed at the last part. Percy then asked, "Mom, are you going to send me to another boarding school?" "I don't know, Percy, we'll figure something out. I thought that by sending you to Yancey it would be far enough away to keep you safe." "Because you don't want me around," Percy said, and regretted the second he said it for 2 reasons. 1, it made his mom cry, and 2, Naruto then punched him upside the head. "Percy, don't ever say that again about your mom in my presence again, go it," Naruto said while very pissed off. "Percy, there is a summer camp for people like you that your father wanted you to go to, but if you do, more than likely I will never see you again, and I can't bear that," Sally said sadly. "What do you mean it's just a summer camp?" Percy asked as his mom rose to put out the fire, and she said, "Percy, let's not worry about it just yet, okay?" Naruto approached Sally as Percy was going into their room to sleep and said, "Sally, you know Percy will have to go to Camp Half-Blood sooner or later, so I think it would be best you tell him soon." "How do you know the name of the camp?" Sally asked. "Because I'm a demigod as well," Naruto said as he went towards his room. Naruto had a weird dream. In it he heard a voice going, "Naruto, be careful. Danger." Naruto was then awoken by the sound of thunder and waves pounding the sand. Sally was awoke by the sound of thunder. "Hurricane," she said. Naruto knew something was very, very wrong for Poseidon to be this angry, and Naruto knew that whatever it was, it somehow involved Percy. Hearing a pounding at the door, Sally then went and unlocked it. Naruto, having his ring and watch ready to activate, stood next to Percy. Standing in the doorway was Grover, and he looked like he had just ran a marathon. "Been searching all night," said Grover. "What were you thinking, Percy?" "Percy, what didn't you tell me? Tell me now," Sally yelled over the wind. "You didn't tell her about the kindly one. Or at least the deciders, Percy, you idiot," Naruto said. After Naruto said this, Sally turned pale and then grabbed her purse and the car keys and said, "Get in the car now." Percy then noticed that Grover didn't have his crutches and was walking on 2 legs, only those 2 legs were goat legs. The drive to Camp Half-Blood was on narrow country roads that were barely able to fit the motorcycle, let alone the car. But Naruto and Mrs. Jackson drove through the pounding rain and the fierce wind. Naruto was in front of the car all the while thinking, what could possibly have got Poseidon in such a state? Whatever it's, I just hope that it has nothing to do with me or Percy. Meanwhile in the Camaro, Percy asked to Grover, so you and my mom know each other? Grover then replied, well, she does know me, but she did know I was watching after you to keep you safe. Safe from what? Percy then asked. From creatures like Miss Dodds and others that are much worse, Grover answered. Percy, there isn't much time to explain right now, we have to get you to the camp, Mrs. Jackson said. But I thought that you didn't want me to go there, Percy said. I didn't unless I had to, Percy, because if you go there more than likely I will rarely get to see you anymore, Mrs. Jackson said sadly. Why, it's just a camp? Percy asked as they pasted a strawberry field with a sign that said pick your own strawberries. And Grover, what happened to your legs? Percy asked while staring at Grover's hooves. These are my legs, Percy, and the reason why it's best for you to not leave the camp is because it's the only place safe for people like you. Grover said. So you're part donkey. And people like me as in disturbed people, Percy said. Grover then went, blah ha ha, I'm goat not donkey, and Percy, you aren't disturbed, you're a. What Grover was going to say was cut off as they could feel a powerful shake hit them, and Mrs. Jackson thought, an earthquake, what is Poseidon doing? The answer to that question was answered almost immediately when suddenly in front of Naruto's bike the ground collapsed and his bike fell in and he was thrown from it. He flew into the air and crashed into a fence post that was running along the roadside. Mrs. Jackson quickly pulled over to check on Naruto, but as soon as she stopped the car was hit hard on the driver's side. The car tumbled over side to side and ended up on the roof. Thankfully the car managed to stop before it crushed Naruto under it. Naruto, who was stunned from the sudden flight and in pain from luckily just a broken left shoulder, saw what it was that hit his car. It was a monster, the size of a big rig truck as wide as the front of 2 buses together. A monster that was born from one man's refusal to sacrifice the Cretan bull to the gods, a monster that drove terror into the hearts of the people of Athens whom it received as sacrifice. This monster's name, the Minotaur, the bull man as half-bloods call him, was a frightening sight. His horns were as long as a full-grown man's arm and as thick as tree branches. His eyes were as black as night, but they were fogged over slightly like he couldn't see very well. His torso was that of a massive steroid-using bodybuilder and his legs were that of a bull but as big as a small dinosaur. In the bull man hands was an axe that looked like it could cut down a sequoia tree in a single swipe. All in all, Naruto thought, damn, the myths of old do not do the bull man justice. If anything, he is even scarier. I have to get Percy and Grover into camp, it's after us, so if we can get to camp he should leave Mrs. Jackson alone. While Naruto was observing the Minotaur, Percy, Grover, and Mrs. Jackson were recovering from their turn on the spin cycle. Ah, Percy said while rubbing his head as he had received a nasty bruise during the flip. Mom, are you okay? Asked Percy. Mrs. Jackson replied, I'm okay. How are you? I'm fine. Percy replied. Grover, are you okay? Percy asked. Food. Grover groaned. Percy, despite everything that just happened, couldn't help but laugh at the fact that even pasted out Grover still thought about food. Mrs. Jackson had tried to open the door on her side, but it was jammed from the impact. She then saw the great looming figure of the Minotaur. She then thought, did Poseidon send him after Naruto? But as soon as that thought came to her, she dismissed it because she knew that Poseidon would never send the Minotaur anywhere near Percy. She then said to Percy while opening the passenger door and pointing towards the hill with a pine tree on it, grab Grover quick and make for the hill over there. After grabbing Grover, Percy then got out of the car and ran as fast as he could towards the hill with his mom close behind them. Naruto, while Percy was running towards the hill, was busy keeping the Minotaur occupied. Naruto activated his sword and quickly lunged at the Minotaur's legs, hoping to keep it off balance. The sword managed to cut through several tendons of the Minotaur's right leg, but the Minotaur countered as he went down to a knee and smacked the blonde into the air towards Percy and Grover. Wham! OWW, Percy said while rubbing his backside, while Grover groaned out, food. Percy then looked back towards the car and saw the Minotaur and said, "Holy cow, it's the..." Naruto interrupted him by saying, through the pain his left arm was taking, "There is nothing holy about him and it's not a cow and don't say his names have power Percy, I'll explain later." As Naruto finished saying that, the Minotaur then grabbed the Camaro and threw it towards the demigod and demi-deity. Thankfully a lightning bolt struck the Camaro's gas tank and it exploded in midair. Mrs. Jackson then helped Percy up and the four of them then ran towards the tree. Mrs. Jackson then said, "Thankfully the rain is covering your scent pretty well, but if he charges quickly dive towards the left or right, he can't turn that quickly." Just then the Minotaur bellowed out a roar and then charged after them. The monster went for Naruto, who dived towards the right at the last moment and using his sword managed to injure the beast again. This time he severed off its right hand. The Minotaur bellowed out in pain. By this time, Percy managed to get Grover and himself to the tree, and seeing Naruto fighting the Minotaur by himself, he decided to help him. So he grabbed some rocks that were on the ground and threw them at the Minotaur's head. The stones did their trick. The Minotaur was about to attack Naruto again, but felling the rocks hit his head, he stupidly turned himself away from Naruto to see what or who was hitting him. The second that the Minotaur turned his head, Naruto went on the attack. He then unknowingly channeled lightning into his nervous system to supercharge his reaction time and speed, and then in a flash severed the Minotaur's head from his shoulders. The Minotaur's body went away in a shower of golden dust. The head however remained and then turned into a golden bronze color. Naruto knew that it was his spoil of war, so he took it and placed it into his backpack. Then suddenly the earth ripped open and Mrs. Jackson, who was standing as close to the barrier as she could, got pulled down into the hole. Percy, who after the Minotaur was gone went next to her, grabbed her and pulled with all his might, but it was in vain. The last he saw of his mom, she was being taken towards a palace made of black marble, gold, and silver. Percy then collapsed in shock alongside Grover. Naruto, who saw everything, was also shocked but also worried. He knew that Percy must have done something very, very wrong for Hades to kidnap his mom. But too tired to question it now, Naruto then grabbed Percy and put him on his right shoulder and then grabbed Grover with his right arm and dragging Grover's legs walked towards the big farmhouse where the lights were on. "Mr. Brunner, good too as you, I could use a hand if you don't mind," Naruto said after seeing the teacher. Annabeth helped them to the infirmary. Mr. Brunner said to a 5'4" blonde-haired girl. Annabeth then took Grover off Naruto and then walked with him to the infirmary. After putting Percy in a cot, Naruto then checked on Grover and discovered that he had a small concussion, but he would be all right in a few days. After that Naruto grew tired himself and then picked a cot and went to sleep. Sorry I'm a little late getting this chapter out, all I can say is life is a bitch. When Naruto awoke the next morning, he saw the blonde girl who helped him last night standing over him, looking at him with a curious expression on her face. "You know it's rude to stare, right?" Naruto said. Annabeth jumped in fright because she didn't notice that Naruto had woken up and then said, "Sorry, I didn't think that you would be awake anyway. How are you feeling?" "I'm still a little stiff from landing on Percy last night, but other than that I feel fine," Naruto said while getting up. Annabeth was surprised by this because Naruto was very banged up with a broken left shoulder and arm along with several crack ribs from where the Minotaur knocked him into Percy. Naruto observed Annabeth and noticed that Annabeth looked about to be Percy's age with blonde hair with a princess curl. She also had a tan that screamed California and gray eyes. Those gray eyes are what told Naruto that this was one of Athena's daughters due to the description of Athena that was in the book that his parents gave him. "It's an honor to meet you. What's your name, daughter of Athena?" Naruto asked. Annabeth was surprised once more by the fact that Naruto knew that she was a daughter of Athena without her telling him. Annabeth then said after overcoming her shock, "Annabeth, my name is Annabeth, so what is your name and how did you know that I was a daughter of Athena?" "I recognized your mother's eyes from a book that my father gave me about the Greek gods," Naruto said. "So your mom is your divine parent?" Annabeth said, thinking that Naruto's father was mortal. "No, both my mother and father are divine," Naruto replied. Annabeth was once again surprised that both of Naruto's parents were divine. That only happened at most a handful of times, mostly because one of the gods in said union stopped eating ambrosia for too long and temporarily was mortal, and each of the children of those unions did remarkable things. The first one that she could think of was Alexander the Great, the second was Cleopatra VII, and the third was Christopher Columbus, the fourth was Thomas Edison, and the last one was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Most of them were sons of Hephaestus and another goddess, except for Cleopatra and Christopher. They were children of two minor gods. But something told Annabeth that Naruto was not the son of Hephaestus and a minor goddess, or even the child of two minor gods. No, something told Annabeth that Naruto was the son of two other Olympian gods, but which two was the question. "So do you mind showing me around?" Naruto asked, breaking Annabeth from her thoughts. "Sure, but first Chiron needs to see you," Annabeth said while walking out of the infirmary towards the big house. When they arrived at the big house, Naruto could see Mr. Brunner and what looked like an overweight Pee-wee soccer coach playing a card game. "Hello Mr. Brunner, or should I say Chiron, trainer of heroes," Naruto said when they arrived. "Hello Naruto, it's good to see you awake. I didn't think you would wake up so soon after the beating you took last night." "And yes, it's Chiron," Chiron said. "Well Chiron, do you mind if I ask why is it that the Sea Master seems to be so angry at me that he would cause an earthquake and make me wreck my bike?" Naruto asked. "I'm afraid Naruto that Poseidon's trident was stolen at the last winter solstice, and for some reason he now believes you are the thief, and I'm afraid that I have to ask, but did you steal it?" Chiron said. Naruto was deep in thought. "That explains why Poseidon was angry at me, but why would he suspect me? I have never been to Olympus." Naruto then said, "No Chiron, I did not steal the trident, nor did I help in any way the theft of it. This I swear on the river Styx in my honor." Thunder boomed in the distance, sealing the oath. Chiron breathed a sigh of relief because of this. The Pee-wee soccer coach then spoke up and said, "Well, now I guess I should welcome now to Camp Half-Blood, so welcome. You as well, god of madness, wine, theater, and festivals." Naruto said, stunning said god, who then looked at Naruto with a critical eye. "How did you know who I am, young one? Not even the smartest of all new campers know who I am without me giving a hint to it?" Mr. D asked. "Your scent and aura," Naruto said. "You smell of grapes and your eyes show a hint of the power behind you that you hide so well. Annabeth, if you would go check on Percy please, and if he wakes up please bring him to me," Chiron said to Annabeth, who looked stunned once more that someone realized who Mr. D was with just a look. Naruto then sat down and then asked, "So you can spare me the normal lecture on where I am and what I am? I've known for a while thanks to my parents. My only question is, where am I going to sleep, since I know that until my parents claim me I can't stay in their cabins even if I knew who they were." "You'll stay in the Hermes cabin since he is the god of guides amongst other things, so he takes in all the unclaimed until they are claimed," Chiron said, answering Naruto's question, but then asked one of his own. "You said parents as in plural, what did you mean by that?" Naruto then told Chiron and Mr. D about his dual divine parentage. Both Mr. D and Chiron knew, like Annabeth, that someone like Naruto only happened a handful of times, and both remember what each of them accomplished. Mr. D also thought, could Naruto be the one from the Great Prophecy? "No, the Great Prophecy said two mortal parents." Naruto said that his were divine, so it can't be him. Naruto and Chiron then went on to tour the camp. Chiron first showed Naruto the training arena for swords, spear, and all other non-long-distance weaponry. Naruto was to say impressed with the layout and couldn't wait to try and improve his sword skills, and after his fight with the bullman he decided to get or make a weapon to give him more reach, like a spear. Then Chiron showed Naruto the stables, and the minute he stepped in, every horse and Pegasus in the stable stood still and straight like a group of soldiers at attention for their general. Naruto then walked down the line of horses and gave each an appraising gaze and then nodded at once. Each horse went at ease like they were told to relax. While this was happening, Chiron thought, what is going on? Horses don't react this way even to sons of Poseidon. I mean, they respect sons of Poseidon, but they don't treat even them to this level of attention. After the incident in the stables, Chiron then led Naruto to the cabins and explained whose was whose. While Chiron was doing this, Naruto examined each. One looked like a factory with the smokestacks that it had on its roof and the sounds coming from it. Another looked like it was made of solid gold from the blinding light that was coming off of it. Another looked like it was made from a garden from the tomatoes, corn, and wheat that was growing from its roof, walls, and the ground floor from what Naruto could see. The ones that held Naruto's attention, however, were the two at the far end. They looked like temples made of marble. Each were similar but very different. The one on the left had tall and wide columns of marble to hold it up and had golden eagles above each column, and in the center was a statue of the god. It represented Zeus. The roof, from what Naruto could see, appeared to be dome-shaped and made of glass. The one on the right was narrow and long with columns made of marble to hold it up again with peacocks with their feathers spread out to the world on top with a statue of the goddess. The cabin represented Hera. Alongside the columns were pomegranates growing along them towards the top, and along the outside of the cabin were vases filled with flowers, and the roof, from what Naruto could see, was that it too had a glass roof. The doors to each were different as well. The doors to the left cabin were like old bank vault doors with a lightning bolt on each side of the two doors, and when they came together they made a versus. The ones on the right had the peacock on each side of the doors. When they came together they looked like two birds watching over the cabin. Chiron then finished his explanation on the cabins and led Naruto towards the dining area. As Chiron did so, Naruto noticed the fire pit in the middle of the cabins was occupied by an 8-year-old looking girl in a brown cloak with fire-like eyes. Naruto, seeing her, bowed to her in respect towards her and said, "May the hearth always keep the family whole, Flamekeeper." The 8-year-old girl was shocked that someone recognized her for what she truly was, bowed back towards Naruto, and then walked into the flame and disappeared. After viewing the dinner area and seeing the obstacle course along with the canoe lake, Naruto was then led back towards the cabins, this time going towards cabin 11. The first thing Naruto noticed when he entered the cabin was that it was very crowded. The second thing was that the majority of the campers in the cabin looked mostly the same, with the blonde hair, blue eyes that gleamed with a look like every one of them would steal the pants off of you and you wouldn't even know it. The rest looked vastly different from hair to eye color. Naruto knew the best way to get the messenger's kids to not steal from him was to steal the head of the cabin's wallet, which Naruto did along with his watch, knife, belt, and his socks and shoes before he could even blink. Needless to say, the campers got the message, "Don't mess with my stuff." Naruto then had dinner with the rest of the Hermes cabin, and when he made his offering he made it to first Hestia, then to Poseidon, then to his parents. The reason for this was 1. Ancient tradition: offerings first were given to Hestia, then to everyone else. Second, he hoped to appease Poseidon for whatever offense he did him, then lastly his parents, so they know that he loves them and is waiting to be claimed. When Mr. D told the campers about Naruto's unique heritage, needless to say the campers were stunned, curious, wanting to fight him, and looking at him like he was a piece of prime rib. The stunned and curious were mostly the Hephaestus, Diameter, Athena, and Apollo cabins. The wanting to fight was the whole Ares cabin, and the prime rib was the Aphrodite cabin. After dinner Naruto went to the head of the Hephaestus cabin and asked to use their forges. Charles, the head of the cabin, said that Naruto could so long as he made sacrifice to Hephaestus before using them. Naruto then said he would stop by tomorrow and use them and went to bed. The next day Percy woke up and needless to say he was two things. 1 shocked and 2 in denial. Naruto saw Percy when he was meeting Chiron and Mr. D for the first time. From what Naruto could tell when he walked up was that Percy had stupidly offended Mr. D, so to keep his friend sane Naruto walked up to intervene. "So winemaker, what did Percy do to offend you already?" Naruto asked as he walked up and sat down. "He said my name without permission," Dionysus said to Naruto. "Well, let me explain it to him why that is a bad thing, if you allow me, winemaker," Naruto asked. "Go ahead, but if he says my name without permission again I will turn his brain to mush," Dionysus said while glaring at Percy. "Percy, first off, good to see you up and about. Second, it's time I explain to you everything that is going on, so listen up," Naruto said to Percy, who sat up straight after hearing that. "Now what Mr. D just said about gods being alive is true, and your father is one of them, and before you ask, no, neither I nor do Mr. D or Chiron know who he is for all I, but I can tell you this: he is either one of the Olympians or a very strong minor god, because of how strong you are, be what I have seen so far. Now as to why Mr. D is mad at you is because you said his name without permission. Now you may think that he is overreacting. Listen up. Gods hear everything, and by everything I mean they hear everything when their name is said. Like if I was to say his name, he would hear everything that I say following it. Now imagine if everyone said the gods' names all the time, would that not get annoying? So gods made a rule that demigods can't say gods' names unless it is under 4 situations. 1. You are making an offering to them. 2. You are on a quest and are asking for help or advice. 3. You are on Olympus and are in the great temple. And finally, as if they give you permission to say their name. Anyway, here this book will teach you the basics of what to do and what not to do as a demigod," Naruto said while handing a book to Percy, who looked at it and said, seriously. The reason he said that was because of the title, How to Survive Life as a Demigod for Dummies by Athena. Naruto then said, Well, I would love to stay and chat, but I have a few weapons to forge. See you later, Percy, Chiron, Mr. D. Mr. D said before Naruto left. Naruto, since you've impressed me, you can use my name anytime you wish while I'm in your presence. Thank you, Dionysus. I will make sure not to abuse the privilege, Naruto said humbly. Naruto then left to the Hephaestus cabin to use their forges. Naruto entered the cabin and it looked like he had stepped into a late 20th century factory. Naruto, seeing Charles, walks over to him and greets him. Naruto then asks where he can make his weapons and to make his offering to Hephaestus. Charles points to an empty workstation and tells him that his dad expects to receive his offering after he finishes his work. Naruto then moves over to his station and begins to work on the spear that he decided to make. Naruto worked on it until lunch when he finished it. The spear was 6.5 long from the head to the end of the shaft. Naruto also managed to make it so that the spear would work like his ring. It took the form of a wristband. Naruto then went to lunch and made his offerings to Hestia, his parents, Poseidon, and lastly Hephaestus. After finishing lunch, Naruto then went and began to practice using his new spear when suddenly a voice sounded out. Your technique needs quite a lot of work, the voice said. Naruto, hearing the voice, turned and saw the person who said it. The person in question was a girl who looked to be 14 or 15 with brown hair and eyes with an athletic look to her. From the way she looked, Naruto knew instantly whose daughter she was. Naruto then said, well, I did just start to learn, so how am I for a beginner, and what your name is, miss? Clarice is my name, and for a beginner not bad but could be a lot better, Clarice said. How about you teach me then, since given who your father is you probably know how to use a spear, Naruto asked. Sure, if you tell me how you knew who my father was without even asking, Clarice said. Well, you the grace of a warrior and the build of one, so naturally your father has to be the bloody one, Naruto said. Alright, let's get to training, Clarice said with a sadistic smile on her face. Naruto knew from personal experience from being on the receiving end and delivering it that he was in for hell. Naruto groaned as he headed for the showers to wash off after training with Clarice, which was to say, in 2 words, death itself. He shuddered what he just went through and from the knowledge that it would happen again tomorrow. In return for the spear training, Naruto was going to help Clarice and the rest of the Ares cabin improve their hand-to-hand skills, which Naruto showed to Clarice after her death itself training. Speaking of Clarice, Naruto noticed that she was heading towards Percy and Annabeth. Well, whatever was said made Clarice angry, so she then grabbed Percy and dragged him towards the bathroom. Whatever happened in there was caused the water to come out like a giant wave with Clarice with it. Naruto, seeing who wed she was, then concentrated his powers and sent a warm wind to her and dried her off. Clarice said thanks and, glaring at Percy, walked away. Percy then said to Annabeth, what are you thinking? Annabeth then said, I think I want you both on my Capture the Flag team this Friday. Sorry about the long wait, all I can say is life is a major bitch. For Naruto, the following week was, in a word, awesome. He enjoyed all the activities well except one, which was also the only one where Percy really shined at canoe racing. Every time he got in the canoe it flipped over. Although it was a laugh to see Percy some get his arrow cord wrapped around his head as he let go, sending him into his target, unlike all his arrows which hit the dirt. Now it was time for the Capture the Flag game. In preparation for the game, Naruto made his own armor with a muscle cuirass and Thracian helmet. On the forehead of his helmet he placed the symbols of a lightning bolt and a peacock feather in the shape of a V. On the top of the helmet he had a blue horsehair plume on top for the game. Naruto made his way over to where Annabeth was talking to Percy. Athena always has a plan. Anyway, you're on border patrol, Luke will show you her, Annabeth said to Percy. So what is the plan, Annabeth? Naruto asked. We'll fight the Ares kids on the creek line, while Luke and a few other Hermes kids sneak around to steal the flag, Annabeth said. Good plan, but I would suggest placing Apollo kids into the treetops to give them a better shot, Naruto said. Thanks, we'll do that. See you later, Naruto, Annabeth said. Chiron then said to everyone, heroes, make ready, the game will begin in a few minutes. Remember, no permanent damage and all magical items are allowed. Naruto then joined the rest of the campers on the blue team. When the game began, everyone rushed towards the creek. The fighting was intense. Dodging a sword swipe, he then kicked the knee out from under the person. He then slammed his shield into said person. Naruto then signaled for everyone nearby to form up a phalanx. Thanks to the phalanx formation, Naruto and the other blue team members began to push the red team members back across the creek where they then held them there. Naruto then separated from the phalanx and went to see how Percy was doing. After asking an Athenian campier where Percy was, he then rushed over to where he was. Naruto arrived to see Percy getting beaten to a pulp, so he decided to intervene. Naruto used his shield to ram the two sons of Ares off of Percy. Naruto was going to help Percy with Clarice, but the two sons that he knocked down got up quicker than he thought they would, so he got in position to defend himself. One of the sons charged in blindly. Naruto raised his shield and blocked the wild blow and then slammed his shield into the attacker's face twice, once to knock him out, the other to make certain. The other son did the smart thing, well, smart for a son of Ares, and slowly came in to fight him. Naruto decided to take charge and tossed his shield towards his opponent after hitting a button on the inside of the shield. Mid-flight, the outer edge of the shield spikes appeared and spun. The son, seeing this, raised his shield, and when Naruto's hit, the spikes dug into the shield and got stuck. The son didn't expect the extra weight, so he lost his balance. While all this happened, Naruto ran up and used the two shields as a springboard and got behind the son and knocked him out. Naruto then turned to see Percy breaking Clarice's spear and see Luke cross the creek line. After Luke crossed the creek line, the flag turned into the symbol of Hermes. Then suddenly there was a loud growling sound coming from the bushes near Percy. Chiron, hearing the sound, said, "To arms! Bring me my bow." Naruto then brought forth his spear, and out of the bushes came an elephant-sized dog with flames for eyes, with teeth as sharp as razors. The dog was a hellhound, not just an hellhound but a Tartarus hellhound. The hellhound saw all the weapons leveled and ready to kill it, but then saw Percy, who was breathing heavy and tired from the capture the flag game. So making the decision, the hellhound leapt at Percy, who brought his shield up to protect himself. Sadly for Percy, the hellhound managed to get on him before he could get his shield up in time. The hellhound brought its muzzle back to tear into Percy, but before it could, it met its end to Naruto's spear. Naruto saw what the hellhound was going to do, so when the hellhound jumped towards Percy, the spear was already on its way. After helping Percy up, something amazing happened. A light shone around Percy. Percy asked, "What's happening?" Chiron said, "It is determined." Annabeth then said to Percy, "Your father is claiming you." Percy then looked up at his forehead and saw a greenish-blue trident, the symbol of Poseidon. Chiron then kneeled and said, "Hail Percy Jackson, son of Poseidon, the Earth-shaker, the Stormbringer, and master of the seas." Then clapping sounds came from behind all of the campers, and when they turned to see who, they were stunned. It was Zeus and Hera. Chiron then said while still bowing, "My lord, my lady, to what do we owe the honor of having you here?" Zeus and Hera didn't say a word as they walked towards Naruto, who was the only person that wasn't kneeling to Zeus or Hera, as something in him told him that he didn't need to. When Hera got in front of Naruto, she did something that shocked everyone, even Naruto. She hugged him. Zeus then said, "The reason, Chiron, is simple. What reason does a father and mother need to see their son?" Naruto, hearing this, did what anyone would have done. He cried and hugged his mother. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like, share and subscribe. Also don't forget to support author of this fanfic. So let's end this video here. Until then, see you in next video.